The easiest and the hardest place to be is at the bottom of the hierarchy. The good girl to the bad bitch journey doesn't have enough urgency when you are at the bottom of the hierarchy. You don't feel discrimination. You know that it's unfair, but you still don't understand what you're missing out on because you need to have had privileged experiences to even know what it's like to have a better life. Once you've experienced the comfort, the command, the power that privilege can give you, you want more of it and more of it and more of it. Power is the greatest human addiction. Hey Changemakers, it's Julieta. Welcome back to this channel. Today we're going to discuss the feeling of what it feels like in your body when you're going from the good girl to the bad bitch and what life is actually like to be the bad bitch. The feeling of discomfort is when you start to notice every little thing that you never noticed before. Before, people were just being nice. As a bad bitch, you realize they're not being nice. They need me. They are strategizing on their own. They're trying to run powergasm over me to accomplish their goals for them to feel good so they can go out and be more bold somewhere else. You start to notice all different types of dynamics. You realize that people who are privileged know that they're privileged, but they will never ever tell you that they have this advantage. Why would they? Because the last thing they want you to know is that you have less privilege. And when there are many of you who realize that you have less privilege, then you will bind together and try to overthrow the system. That system is capitalism, patriarchy, and racism, the three man-made power hierarchies that rule our society. What is it like to go from the good girl who doesn't understand social cues, who doesn't understand that she's discriminated, doesn't understand the depth of the aggressions that she comes across every single day? The good girl who makes up in her mind that being nice to somebody who's disrespectful to her is teaching them some kind of lesson. The good girl who doesn't understand consequences of her disempowerment. If you're the good girl, you don't feel the urgency to shed your patriarchal conditioning, the internalized misogyny, the internalized racism, the thought that you have in your head that where you are a good person and therefore you shouldn't want more, you shouldn't want more success, you shouldn't want more comfort because you don't want to oppress other people, you don't want to be a bad person. The systemic injustices are so flawlessly formed to condition people who are oppressed to think they love being in that position because they have to be good people. Now, what does it feel like to be the bad bitch? To be honest, in the beginning of the bad bitch journey, you're going to feel a lot of triggers in your body. You're going to feel reactive, but at the same time, you've learned the lessons that being reactive does not have good payoff. It's not going to get you what you want. So as the bad bitch, you wait. You let your emotions ride out. You regulate and think about strategically, how can I make this situation become beneficial to me? What are my goals and how can I get what I want based on these conditions? I'm not here to change the conditions. I'm here to ride the waves to gain advantage. For those of you who are sick of corporate, you're sick of playing the game to win, you're sick of having to be somebody who you're not, and you want to just start a business, let me tell you, as a woman of color who's been in business for the last 7 years, going on to 8, it's not going to get better. It's going to get harder for you because CPR, capitalism, patriarchy, racism, are a lot stronger. These forces are a lot stronger when you're in direct contact with the market. When you're in a job, you are covered by your boss, your employer, the company that you work for. Company is responsible for revenue and pay you. You are never in direct contact with having to generate all the revenue unless you're in sales. But even then, you're not selling your own products, you're selling for the company. That means when you have a job, you are sheltered. The moment you have a business and you're a business owner, you are required to make all of that happen. You are required to go out there and hunt. You're required to face capitalism, patriarchy, racism straight in the eye and generate success on your own. Otherwise, those you're responsible for as a CEO, as a business owner, do not get to eat. You don't get to eat. As a business owner, covering basic expenses are far from enough. It's not like when you have a job, you need to create enough revenue to support growth. Because if you're not growing, you're going backwards, you're shrinking. If you're not growing in revenue every single year, you are failing. If you're staying the good girl, it's because you're actually afraid of what you have to face. You're afraid of responsibilities. You're afraid of having to be the person who actually has to handle the consequences, and you're gonna be the one who's responsible when things go wrong. You, more than anything, have to own up to the idea that when you suffer from self-sabotaging habits or make a bad decision, then the direct result that you get is actually because of you. Here, you cannot blame your parents, you cannot blame somebody else. It's on you. The good girl stays the good girl because she cannot bear to be in that position. The closest you are to the sun, the hottest it gets. When you are in business, you're in direct contact with the marketplace, and that means the human condition, people's mindset, how the world works. How is the consumer behavior going to be? How are you going to generate success in the complex world of capitalism, patriarchy, and racism? That is the sun. And the closer you are, the closer you get in direct contact with that marketplace, the more you feel the pressure of CPR. The more you're called to be a strategic power player, to be a great business person means that you are the best at influencing and directing people's behaviors and changing the course of events. That is a definition of power, and that's what the bad bitch does. The bad bitch isn't a fun lingo used by TikTok girlies, self-development, calling it the dark feminine energy, being a baddie. That's light stuff. That's not what it means to be the bad bitch. The bad bitch is a leader. A leader is somebody who takes responsibility, someone who owns her power, someone who owns her world and makes life happen. You are luckier the more you have power and privilege in the power hierarchy. The more advantage you have in capitalism, patriarchy, and racism, you're going to find that you manifest effortlessly. You don't even have to put in too much care. You just have to follow certain types of rules and you will see great results. If you're a woman of color, that's not going to happen so easily for you. So if you've been wondering, what's my glass ceiling? What about my manifestation? Where's my lucky girl syndrome? What you haven't been looking at is the human condition. TikTok girly self-development is not going to give you that. A book or a course or a YouTube channel by a white man, even a white woman who are on a relatively privileged scale, they're not going to be able to give you that. The more oppressed you are, the lower down you are in the power hierarchy, the less immediate influence you have over people because of the way you present, your gender, the color of your skin, the more social elegant you have to be. Social elegance is care, is understanding nuance and operating with nuance rather than being reductive, rather than just saying, I'm just going to throw this out there and see what happens. People are not going to respond to you well when you are reactive or when you're commanding, demanding without taking into account how am I coming across based on how I present myself and what people immediately think when they see someone like me. I have many case studies of clients who have worked with me to turn around very difficult corporate situations as well as succeeding in entrepreneurship. That's why I'm going to invite you to go watch my free social elegance presentation. And if this is the right thing for you and you feel very drawn to it, then you can choose to book a free call. You've done enough to be competent. You have to be liked. You have to be respected. You have to be celebrated. When you've been oppressed all your life, you don't know how to do that. The privileged have learned how to do that from the get-go. That's the market you're competing in. The good girl waits on herself. The bad bitch is a leader and takes immediate action. If you're the bad bitch, I want to witness you soar. It's Julia Cha. Thanks for watching. See you soon.